So I analyzed the about pages of over 120 of the top communities on the Skool platform. And this was across all different categories. So this was across all 9 categories, be it sports, business, or hobby channels. Literally, I wanted to know, is there a universal template or model that we can all follow to increase the results and conversions of our about page? And the good news was that I discovered many different patterns and formulas that people are using. And in this video, I'm going to go through those. But also the good thing was that they were universal regardless of the category that you might be in. And also the word differences between free and paid. So I'm going to break down a template at the end of the video for both free and paid that you can use to follow and you can alter and change for your particular about page. So let's get into it. Now, the first one was that I noticed that paid communities almost always qualified the total value of their personal community. So if they were going directly to charging, so they weren't having a free community, they were going directly to charging, or potentially they were linking from a free community to a paid community, then they almost always, 89% of the time, they almost always said the value that they had was, say, $27,000, or all of this stacked together was worth this much. And this kind of makes sense. It's not something I really like doing too much, but it does make sense because it's the value stack. It's where you're stacking all the benefits and features and saying how much everything is worth. And then you're actually value stacking it just like you would on an offer page. So if you actually had an offer or a sales page, you would have some form of value stack. So quantifying the value and then obviously underplaying how much you're charging. So for example, there's $1,000 worth of value in here, but you're going to get it for $49 a month. Then that obviously gives you a value stack, which is then going to make you hopefully want to sign up for the community because you think it's fantastic value. So I was surprised at how many people were doing this, but it does seem to be something that most of the paid communities were doing. The next one is that almost all paid communities, so 70% of paid communities had guarantees. They had guarantees that they would refund you or give you your money back or guarantee some form of results. So they would normally have a 7-day, a 14-day, a 30-day, or a results-based guarantee. And there was many good communities that were doing this, and the guarantees that you can offer, some were saying that they would guarantee the results. So you'll get your first client. If you don't get your first client in 90 days, I'll give you your money back, or I'll work with you until you get the desired result. Now, I think you have to be pretty darn sure of being able to get people results to do that for a low ticket community. High ticket, you could potentially do that. But I did notice that most people had some form of guarantee that removed the risk from people signing up. So although some people were doing trials, many people were doing guarantees instead of trials and getting people to jump straight into purchasing, but saying that if you change your mind, we'll refund you. So I think it's good practice to have some type of, not trial, but guarantee that you're going to refund them or give them their money back if something goes wrong. And this makes sense because many communities are actually in Europe, and I believe the European Union makes you have a 14-day cooling off period anyways. So therefore, you would have to refund someone if they didn't want it within the European Union within a 14-day period. So you might as well embrace that anyways. But guarantees do seem to be a really strong way to get conversions for your community because we're limited in terms of what we can do for urgency, which is why people are still trying to put some of the sort of tactics that you would have on a sales page, such as value stacking and guarantees, to try and remove that risk to get people to take action. The next one is that I noticed that people were using the words elite, VIP, pro, accelerator, and inner circle a lot for their paid communities. So this seemed to be the next sort of level when it came from, say, a free to a paid community. So it appeared in 82% of the paid communities had one of these words. They were using some variation of that. And the free versions usually obviously had free, light, foundations, or hub. So the next level, they were giving it sort of a luxury, elite, VIP, pro, accelerator, all of those sort of premium words, where the free ones, it was more of the basics, the light, the hub, a little bit more sort of less aggressive, less sort of fancy and VIP feeling to it. But it was something worth noting there that I thought that was interesting, the differences in the words that people use between the free and the paid communities. The next one is the use of emojis. Emojis seem to be a massive part in about pages, and especially in paid and the top communities. So the top communities seem to use emojis a lot more. And as you can see on the paid ones, the average number of emojis was 12 to 18 emojis, which is crazy. And then the free ones was 4 to 8. And I think the reason there's fewer on the emoji side was that generally the amount of text that people use on free descriptions for free communities was less than it was on paid communities. But as you can see, there's also a difference in the type of emojis people are using. So you've seen the green checks. Everybody, when they're talking about a feature or a benefit, seems to use these green checks. You've then got fires, diamonds, and the old rocket for launching and accelerating and taking off and gaining momentum. But then you've got the stars and celebrations and so on for the free communities. But emojis do seem to be a big part of both free and paid community descriptions. The next part is urgency tactics. Now, 64% of paid pages have a price increase warning or some type of limited spots or join before the doors closed or whatever. So free pages obviously never seem to use urgency, which makes sense for a free community. You're not really going to close the doors because it's kind of your lead magnet. You're bringing people in. But on the paid ones, it was a lot of trying to drive urgency. And this makes sense because something I've always said is that communities really struggle with being able to drive urgency because there's no real way to do it other than bonuses, limiting spots, or raising prices. So especially when I see people doing the sort of low ticket prices, you see that they gradually raise their prices. Maybe they start off at 39 and they go 49 and they go all the way up to 100 and then they keep gradually going up. And what that does is it also drives urgency to buy because people don't want to miss out. But then it also stops churn and reduces churn for people not wanting to lose the grandfather or founder rate price that they actually had in the beginning. So urgency tactics, again, comes back to using the sort of offer page strategies that people are using. And urgency is a real problem, I think, for these types of about pages. So you do need to have something on it. And this is perhaps the benefit of using a freemium setup for your Skool community, because then you don't have to be driving urgency so much. You can actually do that inside the community, but you've already got the people inside. So then there's a benefit to that. The next one is testimonials and proof. Now, obviously paid is going to have a lot more testimonials on the page. 78% show at least 1 to 3 real testimonials or before and after results. I saw a lot of before and after results, a lot of images of groups of people, or if it was sports, especially before and after shots worked really well, but a huge amount of testimonials. And this is really important, especially these days with trust being at an all-time low. If you're going directly to paid, you really, really, really need a lot of proof. So it goes to show that nearly all, if not all, I would say, I think the ones that weren't showing here, maybe they only had a video on their page, so it's difficult for us to see inside the video itself. But otherwise, for 100%, I would say almost for paid communities have proof. So as much proof as you can get is massively important. Less than 15% show proof on the free side, and it's often more generic stuff, sort of join thousands of other people, get this free thing, or this worked for me, not really necessarily showing a huge amount of proof. So this might be because they've got a free community and a paid, so they left all the proof on that. I would say that especially if you're doing freemium, and why not have a lot more proof on the front end? The benefit, I suppose the downside of having proof on a free community might be that they know you're potentially going to try and sell something to them later on. But I think if everybody's aware that there's free stuff inside and there's paid stuff inside, then I would say even having lots of testimonials on a free about page is a good thing. But especially with freemium now, I think the freemium is going to be a mashup of your free about page and your paid about page. So you're probably going to bring in some of the things that you're doing on a paid about page, and then you're going to mash them with what you're doing on the free one. The next one is upsell placement. in free communities, especially obviously if they have some type of paid program or a paid community especially, they were actually explicitly mentioning the paid upgrade. So 91% of the free communities with the top people, they were already talking about being able to upgrade to the paid community or to the paid offer. And this was often by a link on the about page, or it was by a link just under the profile with the pinned links that you can have. You can have 3 pinned links. They were often putting a link there to be able to upgrade. So where in the past we might not want to mention that there's a paid upgrade, I think these days people are getting more savvy. And this is where I'm saying that having testimonials is probably a good thing even on free now, because people know something is going to be paid inside. We don't do this for free. And we're noticing that even mentioning the product for those that want to jump straight to the paid thing, we're seeing that this is a tactic that pay to free to paid communities are using. So 91% already on the free community on the sign up page are mentioning the paid upgrade. So don't be afraid to advertise your paid stuff from the moment they're trying to sign up. The next one, which was perhaps a slightly interesting one, was the psychology in the cover images. So the colors that they were using in the branding and the color images that they have at the top of the about page, and then also in the profile image at the side, paid seem to be darker colors, dark backgrounds, white and gold, more of a luxury vibe in the tones. And then the free ones often were bright, colorful, energetic, a lot of sort of white and simpler colors, lighter, shall we say, than the paid ones. So an interesting observation there, sort of light, more airy. So very different tones for when you're paying. So it's that sort of luxury mentality branding that people are obviously going for, whether intentionally or just by design, for their paid communities. The next one, which is interesting, and I thought this would be the case anyways, is that in terms of free and paid using video or an image, paid communities used a welcome video 75% of the time. And I would actually say this might be a bit higher. It may be that we didn't notice, or they were using an image first, and then so the video maybe didn't get counted in this. As I said, I went through a lot myself, but also I got AI to go through things many different times to check this out. And definitely I would say 75 to 85% of the time for sure, they had a video on a paid community. And that video was typically a VSL. So by VSL, I mean a video sales letter where they're talking about the benefits inside, what you're going to get inside, the features, maybe some results that people have got, the big promise. They're talking about all of that inside the video, and then also showing you inside the community as well, and what you're actively going to get inside as well. So I think it's very much the video VSL format for the paid communities. And then the free communities were still using video, but only 35% of the time. And normally they would have an image first. And often when they did have a video, it was more talking about what was inside the community, showing you inside, talking about a little bit about what you're doing. But it was less of the sort of salesy push side of the paid communities and more sort of, here's what you get, sign up and get it type of stuff. So it was interesting that, again, coming back to free pages being treated more like an opt-in page, they were a lot simpler. Image, text, less text, and more just about the free thing and the benefit that you're going to get from signing up. So if you think you need a video on your free community page, you maybe don't have to worry about it too much. Or if you do, it doesn't necessarily have to be the first part. It can actually just be the second after the image and then the second one, and just talking about what's inside. Or if you do create a video, which can be nice, it doesn't need to be as salesy as the paid one. It's just more talking about the benefits and the things that they're going to get for free inside. So static image or video, totally up to you, but there does seem to be a difference there. And then the next part is what templates, so what sort of design can we use for our free and paid video description. So I'm now going to take you through a template that we took in all the best parts and then decided the differences between a paid about page text and then a free about page text format. So I'm going to switch to a document now and we'll go through that. So I've created this about page text template, and I will make it available in our community. I will pin this video inside the community and also share this document just below it, where you can copy this and use the template yourself. So I'll put a link below this video to where you can get access to this free template as well to use. So the free community one is an optional video, again, or using an image. And then what we want to do is we want to have a, say, welcome to your community name. The first paragraph will normally be a hook where we're talking about the problem and the solution. So struggling with X, join our free community to start Y. We want to state the purpose, to connect, learn basics, and grow together. And then after that, we want the Y join. So we want to talk about some of the key benefits inside. So benefit 1, benefit 2, normally going to be sort of 3 to 5 benefits. We then want to use, again, talking about the emojis. This one seems to be the one that's getting used a lot. We want 3 to 5 of those, and then the same 3 to 5 of the features about what they get for free inside. So free intro course, community chat discussions, weekly tips or calls, teasers, and that sort of thing. We then have the optional paragraph for upselling. So you remember I said that something like 89% of communities were actually showing and talking about the upgrade option if they had a second paid community. So you could have something like that here, which could say upgrade to paid for live coaching and more in-depth training or whatever you're going to have. And then the call to action. Join us today is completely for free. Start your journey or whatever it's going to be. So let's have a look at an example of this. So I put a fake one together and I got AI to generate this. So don't judge me. I have no idea why it selected this option, but welcome to the free muscle mummy movement. This is the largest free community for women who want to get strong, curvy, and confident without the bro science and diet culture BS. Whether you're brand new to lifting or you've been training for years, you belong here. So a nice sort of welcome, benefit-driven first line. And then we got something like here, and it's going to be the feature list. It says, why 18,000 plus women call this home. Again, if you're starting out, you don't necessarily have to say that, but you could say why this is a place for women to help each other and grow. And then you can talk to the benefits. Free beginner training, again, with a green check. Free beginner glute training workouts. Daily motivation, wins and progress to share. Learn the basics of training, and so on. We're talking about the different benefits inside. And then what you get for free. Start, free 14-day start here glute program. So a free glute program, weekly live Q&A calls. Maybe this would be once a month or monthly. Weekly might be a bit much for your free community. Private women only space. No weird guys sliding into your DMs. Probably an important one for girls. And then upgrade anytime for one-to-one coaching and full plans. So then we've got that ready to finally feel strong and sexy in your skin. Join for free, takes 10 seconds. P.S. Doors close. Doors to the 67 a month academy only open a few times a year. Members here get first access and founder. So this is you sort of upselling the paid part. It could be something else where you were talking about if you would like more in-depth training or if you would like weekly calls, you could update. But I think this is optional. You don't necessarily have to talk about your paid community. And obviously, if you're freemium, it's not really that important. You can talk about that inside. So that's the free template. And the paid one is short, engaging video. Again, this is talking about the VSL style, so the video. So most paid communities, directly to paid communities, has some type of VSL. So again, it's a 2 to 5 minute video normally, talking about what's inside, the benefits, the results, the big promise, and again, any guarantees that they may have inside. So it's almost a VSL, as it's described, is a video sales letter. I won't go into too much detail. That's a video in itself, but it's a video sales letter, and a sales letter is a sales page. So the idea of VSL is to put everything that you would put on a page into a video. So therefore, basically, the video becomes your complete sales page. And that's talking about the benefits, the urgency, the pricing, the testimonials, the result, and overcoming all of the limiting beliefs that people have. The next part is then obviously welcome to the community. 1 to 2 paragraphs where we hook them in with the problem. Tired of X, we've helped Y people achieve X. Briefly state purpose and transformation. Join to master A and unlock B in whatever days. And then mention it is for a specific audience, so beginners or pros. So similar to the free, there is some overlap here, but we want to talk more to the transformation. And then we've got the authority. This is where it's probably even more important. I think it's good to have authority on both free and paid, but we want to lean more into the authority for the paid part, because this is where you're going to share your credentials of why they should listen to you, why they should sign up. So it's a statement of credibility and proof. Hi, my name is whatever. I've achieved this success, this result. I've helped 1,000 other people do the same. So this could be such as, I've managed to get lean and get a 6-pack body and maintain it. And now I've helped 200 people do the same. And then we speak why join. Here are the key benefits of what you get inside. And then using the emojis again, as discussed. And then again, it's what's inside. And this is where if you wanted, as I said, I'm not a huge fan of this in terms of the about page, but I think if you're going from a free community to a paid, it might work better. If you're just going directly to a paid, it might feel a bit too offer pagey. Yeah, I'm not a fan, but I guess it's working for people, so it's completely up to you whether you do it. So then you can have your sort of features and you're adding like a value stack to it. So it's worth this is worth total amount, and then adding any bonuses. If you do bonuses, I notice that people seem to use the little presents, and bonuses normally want to be things that are going to overcome limiting beliefs and questions and objections that people may have. So if you've done your research, you'll know that as well. And then you want to have maybe an optional testimonial paragraph. And then ready to transform, urgency, price increases soon. This is your last chance to lock in results, any guarantees, and so on. Maybe a discount for the annual price. So we come down and see a paid example. Sick of cookie cutter programs that leave you hungry, injured, or still soft? Muscle Mommy Academy is the private sisterhood where busy women build head-turning glutes, abs, and confidence. Hi, Queens. I'm Jess, and I went from stressed corporate mom to 2 times bikini pro champion and helped over 2,000 plus women build real curves while keeping wine nights. So this statement here really sells the community. So it introduces your authority, and this really speaks to the sort of benefits and what makes this different. And then we get into the benefits. So this is kind of tapped into the emotional side as well. And then this gets into the benefits. So you can still eat carbs and drop fat, train 4 hours a week, weekly live coaching calls, no support with no judgment, and so on. You then have a guaranteed results or money back, something like that. And then we have sort of more of the value stacking here, where inside you've got nearly $10,000 worth of value. This is the 12-week glute program, which is worth this much. You've got the new workouts every month, which is worth this much. And then private live form checks and Q&As with me, valued this much. Private chat, plus daily accountability threads, nutrition calculator, and so on. And then we've got a quick testimonial here. I would definitely have a few more testimonials, video if you can get it, or images to go after the video, after the VSL. And then already up 2 inches on my glutes. So speak to the benefit that they're looking for. So if this is a community about glutes, then we want a testimonial that really speaks to the benefit of the glutes, a result that actually matches what you're saying they're going to get. Then you have a testimony here that perfectly matches that. And then we can add some urgency if we can to the price is rising soon, it's currently this, and it will be going up soon. So lock in your price while you can. So that will try to drive a bit more urgency. So those are the 2 formats that I see working incredibly well for both free and paid. Again, I will put this along with the video inside a community if you want this particular template. So that's in the free community, which I will link to in the video description. But otherwise, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you find this useful? Are you going to implement this into your About page? And, what have you seen working for your About page as well? I'd love to hear back from you. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.